with his trainer, Eddie Reynoso, wearing black with white, also weighing in at 167.6 pounds. In his professional career, 54 victories, including 36 big wins by knockout, only one defeat with 2 draws, and he's undefeated for 6 years, and considered by many to be, pound for pound, the best in the world. He's the former 2-time light middleweight world champion, former middleweight world champion, former light heavyweight world champion, the reigning, defending super middleweight champion of the world, damas y caballeros de Guadalajara, Jalisco, México, representando al gran campeón, Saúl Canelo.
Hispanics causing panic, baby. Let's do this.
But right now, Hispanics are causing panic. Right now, Hispanics are causing panic. Yeah, he goes. Hispanics are causing panic. DStyleBoxing here.
Welcome to Hispanics Causing Panic with your host, Calix and DStyleBoxing.
DStyleBoxing here.
thanks to those joining me live and those that be joining me on the archive. We're just trying different things here, so just we're just playing with some of the audio here. You know what I mean?
Man, that nigga was that Japanese guy was in shape.
A lot of these things are in shape. A lot of these things are in shape. First of all, the Buffalo Bills defeated the Baltimore Ravens. Just saying. And we're moving on. We all know who the real MVP is. Lamar just isn't that dude in the playoffs. He just isn't. I don't know what you want me to tell you. But doesn't mean anything unless we could beat Kansas City next week. But that will be next week. Then let's go ahead and get this show on the road. Crawford. People are coming out. And people are all over the place. Let me just say that. We have people picking Crawford to win by decision. We got people saying Crawford's going to knock out Canelo. Like, man. We have people coming out saying that Canelo should win, and he gets no credit if he wins. Because this is a fight he should win, because Crawford's a lot smaller than him. We have people saying that Crawford's bigger than Canelo. Okay. We have people saying it's a 50-55. We got people saying it's a mismatch one way or the other. We got people saying that this is a cherry pick by Canelo. We got people saying that. I mean, I don't even know what to say here. And of course, we got people excited for the fight that really like the fight. But people are just all over the place when it comes to this fight. Why are you all over the place? Why is everybody everywhere with it? I don't like this is crazy. And that's how but there's one thing for sure, people are talking about the fight. That we know for sure. People are conversing about this fight, and it's a talk, and that's how I know that this fight's going to sell whenever it happens, if it happens, assuming it happens. And that is that. I just don't think that Crawford is going to win this fight. I'm going to put it that way right now. Shout out to Remy and Andre Rodriguez in the building. How you guys doing? JC, what's going on? A lot of things going on in the world of politics right now, but I'm not going to talk politics. It gets boring. It gets boring very quick. But I'll tell you what this is. And it's funny how, like, there seems to be people just picking a side, and I may appear that way. There's going to be people that say, oh, you're just picking Canelo to win because Canelo's one of your favorite fighters, and he is, right? But so's Crawford. And I have a record of it. I've been a fan of both guys openly on YouTube for years. So I have a record of it. I'm not just saying it. I have the receipts to prove it, right? But the reality is, I don't know. I'm assuming Vegas, but I have no idea. But I'm going to assume it's in Las Vegas if it happens. Here's what I'll say, guys. When I say what I'm going to say, it's not that I'm picking a side or anything like that. It's just how I genuinely feel. Crawford's not going to win this fight. I'm not doing that because you like Canelo, and then the people that like Crawford are accusing me of saying it because that, but you're picking Crawford. Like it's whatever to me, right? I'm just letting you know that Crawford's not going to win this fight. That's what the Spence fans said. What does that even mean, bro? I've been hearing that shit. I've been hearing that's what the Spence fans said. Right? For a while now. The Spence fans said that too. The Spence fans, what? First of all, let's unpack that for a moment. All right? So Errol Spence fans were saying that Errol Spence could beat Terrence Crawford. Okay. And for some reason, when people say Canelo is going to beat Crawford, somehow you're using that as what? Like, what is it supposed to mean is what I'm asking. Right? Like, let me adjust this real quick. Hold on. Give me a second. This shit's annoying. I have a cord that's stuck. Give me a second, guys. Give me a moment. Sorry about that. It was bothering me. But I couldn't move. I couldn't it was like stuck, like the cord. Anyway, where was I? So there's this thing that's being done right now. I'm seeing live streams. I'm seeing posts. That's what the Errol Spence fans said. Errol Spence fans said that Terrence Crawford couldn't win. So therefore, when somebody tells me that he can't beat Canelo, somehow that's proof to me that I could show them that they're full of shit. Look at what the Spence fans said. This is supposed to mean something to me. Like, it's supposed to mean something. Like what? Here's the reality, man. All right? Now, a lot of you are not going to want to hear this because the Spence fans have been saying this, and I know you want to, and I understand that the Spence fans were very confident going into the fight, right? And I understand that, and I understand that, Errol Spence fans were wrong, and then a lot of them like kind of made excuses afterwards. But here's the reality, and everybody knows this. Errol Spence wasn't the same anymore. Okay, that's number one. Let me just say that. Errol Spence wasn't the same fighter anymore. That's just what it was. Now, pre-car crash, I still think Crawford beats him. Don't get me wrong. But he doesn't beat him like that, and I think y'all know that. Like, I think a lot of people are just plain stupid, right? And they talk about everything other than the reality that Spence wasn't the same. They'll talk about everything else. Oh, no, you can't take it back. Now, you know what you can't tell me? You can't tell me, right, that I was saying Spence was going to win, and then I started making excuses after the fact because I picked Crawford to win. And I picked Crawford to win by knockout. So you see, you can't tell me that. You maybe you could say it to some Errol Spence fan, but you can't say it to me. All right? On top of Errol Spence not being the same, Errol Spence was clearly weight trained. Errol Spence was so did you not see him between fights? He still had a fucking drinking problem. So, what I'm saying, I never said look, don't say things I didn't say. Spence came in great shape. I didn't say he didn't come in great shape. Spence, the professional boxer who had to make 147 pounds, of course he came in great shape. I said he wasn't the same. Is what I said. Same. I didn't say it wasn't good. I didn't say it wasn't a good win. That's not what I said. And this is the problem that we're having. People are putting words in people's mouths. We keep putting words in the mouths of people. What I'm saying, and everybody knows this, is that Errol Spence wasn't the same anymore. And I think everyone collectively knows this. That's why nobody ever says, no. Very few people come out and say, no, Errol Spence was exactly the same. He was the exact same fighter. In fact, he was better than ever. Nobody ever says that. You notice how no one ever says that? They say, well, that's not what they said before the fight. Well, who's they? Who's they? Delusional Errol Spence fans on YouTube? The same Errol, are you talking about the Errol Spence fans, right? That were saying things like Bud wasn't had just been manufactured by Top Rank and they just have great matchmakers. They made Crawford look great, right? But Spence has been fighting all the top comp, all right, and he's a real deal, and he's going to prove it in the fight against Crawford. Well, while there's a grain of truth to some of that, that's not 100% true, right? That's what Errol Spence fans were telling themselves on the internet, right, prior to the Crawford fight, right? Now, knowing it wasn't the same, I still understood he's a big welterweight, he's strong, and I thought he could give Crawford a good fight at least. Crawford comes out and he blows Errol Spence away. Just blows him out of the water. And the vast majority of people, including people picking Bud, okay, were saying it was going to be a close, competitive fight is what they were saying. And I got all these receipts. It's called YouTube. You can go back and watch these live streams. You go back and watch these breakdowns on what people were saying. You don't have to take my word for it. But I remember Terrence Crawford, right, is a good fighter. I had him on my number one pound for pound fighter for years before Inoue took that spot. So don't come to me like, oh, he's a hater. He's just saying what the Spence fans. I'm not. I never said the dumb shit a lot of these Errol Spence fans were saying. I never said any of that shit. But I want to live in the world of reality. Okay? Reality doesn't change. And the fact is, Errol Spence wasn't the same anymore. In fact, one of the reasons most people were leaning Crawford in a fight they said was 50-50 was because of that differential. Not to mention, Errol Spence didn't look good at the weigh-in, right? Errol Spence had been a welterweight for years. And I understand all the arguments. Well, it's not Bud's fault. Did I say it was his fault? Am I blaming Bud Crawford for all these things? Did I ever say that Bud Crawford put the keys in Errol Spence's hands and a gun in his head and force him to drive drunk, right? And crash his car and fuck up his teeth and his body and everything? Did I say it was his fault? Did I say it was Crawford's fault that Errol Spence was playing games and making him wait longer? Where ironically, Spence would have had a better shot. He still wouldn't have won, but he would have had a better shot. He would have fought Crawford earlier. And Crawford was new to the weight class, hadn't filled in the weight class, right? Errol Spence hadn't been in a car crash shit. He would have had a better shot. Is that Crawford's fault? No, never did I say it was his fault. And the reason I know someone to say, well, nobody said that in the chat. Nobody needs to say it. I already know what a lot of these motherfuckers are thinking. You see, when you're a badass like me, you just know what people are thinking. And you could just respond to it before they can say anything. That way it's responded to. We could keep it moving. It wasn't Bud's fault. I don't care if it wasn't Bud's fault. We're trying to analyze a fight and a performance, right? And trying to use it as a gauge, right? To accurately assess how he's going to do against somebody like Saul Canelo Alvarez. That's what we're doing here. So the reality is this, all right? Errol Spence didn't belong at 147 anymore. All right? Well, I didn't lose the bet, Nando. Did I lose the bet? No, I didn't lose the bet. I didn't say that. Did I lose the bet? Did I pay somebody $50 because Fundora won? I didn't, right? No, the bet was who would win the fight. The fight hasn't happened, and it's not going to happen. So I didn't lose the bet. Did I pay you $50 because Spence lost? I didn't, right? So it says what it is. Nando L keeps taking L's. Shout out to Nando. And let me say this. When I mention certain things, like when I say, don't come to me and say something like, that's what the Spence fan said. And I'm just mentioning things like, why pick Crawford to win? I picked him to win by knockout in that fight. I'm not puffing on my chest and saying, oh, look at me. I'm a genius because I picked Crawford to beat Spence, because like 90% of people pick Crawford to beat Spence. All right? I'm not looking for people to be like, wow, DStyleBoxing, he called it. Crawford beat Spence. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm explaining to people that whoever these Spence fans are, that a lot of Bud Crawford fans are saying, hey, that's what you were saying before the Spence fight. I'm just saying that doesn't apply to me, is what I'm saying. Like, I hope that's understood. You know what I mean? Like, I hope like the reason it's being mentioned, like as to why I'm mentioning that, right? Also, Nando, you and I both, I would hope anyway, and you could tell me if you agree in the chat. I don't hold Fundora like into this, like I just don't think Fundura's, like, I'm not saying he's bad, right? But me saying I think Spence could beat him isn't like, it's not like I'm in my opinion, I'm not really picking like a big upset or like in fact, I think the bookies agreed with me. I believe anyway, it was either very close odds or Spence was the favorite. It's not like I was going out on a limb with that pick. It's not like this like crazy pick like that. It's just in my opinion. This is Fundora we're talking about. You know what I mean? So it just, I guess it just is what it is. You know what I mean? Now, we have to talk about and look, you can keep me on my toes, guys. You can, and I know you guys know I'm rusty because I haven't been on live for a while. But you know, I'm always going to come back with the counters. Like, you know what I mean? It's going to happen. Okay, like it's going to happen. I'm just going to let you know, right? Not that you're trying to catch me slipping. I step away. He hasn't been live in a while. Let me just throw the shit in there. Like, you pick Spencer, pick Fundora, you bet 50 on him. Yet I haven't paid on those shit yet. The fight didn't even happen. All right. With that said, I just don't think Fundora, like, I don't know. It's whatever, but we'll move on. Fundora had a blind man in front of him in his last fight and went life and death with him. You name me another top fighter that will fight somebody with blood covering both his eyes. He can't even see, and they're going to barely pull off a win. I mean, you name them. You tell me what fighter would struggle like that, but whatever. Okay, we'll keep it moving. That's the guy you had all the confidence. The guy that got knocked out by Mendoza. Like, you had all the confidence in the world, right? But okay, cool. With that said, where was I? What's I was cooking like and then I ended up talking about Fondura Spence. Well, what are we doing? All right, we're gonna keep it moving. All right. Maybe Nando did get what he wanted. Like, I don't know, but we're gonna keep it moving. So here's the thing. All I'm saying is that Terence Crawford ain't gonna beat Canelo Alvarez. That's all I'm saying. All right. People could say whatever you want. But there's a couple of things I want to hit home on. Number one, Canelo has problems with slick boxers, is what I keep hearing, right? Is Crawford really like a slick boxer? Like, I mean, I think it's a phenomenal talent. But is the first thing that comes to mind really, other than him being black, like, well, that aside, because apparently that's the reason a lot of people are giving. But like, what makes him slick? Exactly. I'm not saying he doesn't have slick moves. He's a veteran and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. But like when you watch like Crawford, really, like you see, like you're like, oh man, that's like Pernell Whitaker right there, or like Floyd Mayweather. Like when it comes to defense, like you really like that. That's really like a thing. Like you look at Crawford and you're like, man, this guy's slick. He barely even gets touched. You know what I mean? Like, is that really like what comes to mind? And does he have better defense than Canelo? I mean, I think Canelo's shown better head movement than Crawford, quite frankly. I think Canelo has better waist movement than Crawford. Crawford has faster feet. And I think their hand speed's about the same. No, what do you mean? I'm just giving it to you. I'm giving it to you. Crawford's a great fighter, don't get me wrong, but this idea that he has the style to mimic what Floyd Mayweather did or what Bivol did, it's like, I guess I gotta watch it. I guess I gotta see it. Because who's the last guy he boxed at? Postal? I know I mentioned that the last time I was live, by the way. Right? Postal is the last guy he fought like that against. And like it was a good performance, but I didn't walk out of that one like, oh man, Crawford, he put on a masterpiece. It was just kind of like a very boring outpointing of like a B-level opponent is what that was. Like he was playing it safe against Postal as if he was like to the point of like, okay. But is anybody really gonna sit there and be like, oh yeah, Postal, he's like, he's at the level like that? Now, Postal's a good fighter. I'm like, again, I'm not, but we're making comparisons here. Like Postal's all right. But Postal lost to Josh Taylor. He went life and death with Jose Ramirez. Like this is the Postal we're talking about. And it was years ago. That's the other thing. At a lower weight class with less weight on him. And it was younger. Obviously, because it was years ago. And you want to talk about slickness and stuff. Bud had some problems with the slick, one-legged Benavidez. Like he did. Crawford even said it was his toughest fight. Dude was limping to the ring. Jose Ramirez, look, man. Jose Benavidez. Is it Jose? It is Jose, right? Benavidez Jr. Like literally, by the end of round 1, you could already see the effects on his leg. By round 3 or 4, he starts to become like more and more stationary. By the mid rounds, the guy is stationary. So, can somebody explain to me how, and that's a guy that was stationary. So I'm not here to say Crawford doesn't have good defense. He does. But is Crawford does he have the defense of like a Pernell Whitaker, a Floyd Mayweather Jr.? In my opinion, no. I'm not insulting the guy by saying that. I think he's a phenomenal talent, right? Like, you know what I mean? But what I'm saying is, like, he is quick. He's not slow, obviously. He's very fast. But does he have like this speed of like a Mel Dictator or like a Ray Leonard or something? No. Right? Now, I'm not necessarily saying he needs that, but I think people are describing a fighter, right? And when they're talking about Canelo Crawford, I just feel people are falling into stereotypes. That's what they're falling into. Oh, Canelo's the unskilled, come forward Mexican with no defense, right? And Crawford is a skilled, slick African American. So people are falling into those stereotypes, right? Or Canelo is the come forward destroyer, and Crawford is the runner. It doesn't matter how you frame it, right? You may put a positive or negative spin, either or, but you're doing the same thing, right? And the reality is, this is not that, that's not what this is at all. So what I'm telling you is that Crawford has his style, okay? And Canelo has his style. And they don't really fall under the umbrella of these stereotypes, is what I'm telling you. People want to talk about skill and, Canelo doesn't have the skill. It's a mismatch in skill. Okay, well, why? Oh, you saw what he did to Spence? Okay. Sure. Yeah, I saw what he did to Spence. But I also know the circumstances of what had happened. And even if Spence was 100%, Spence ain't Canelo, bruh. Even a prime Spence before the car crash, right? Even the best of Spence's is not Saul Canelo Alvarez. Spence was who people think Canelo is. Oh, he just puts his hands up and he's looking for the big counter the whole time. He's looking to work the body and just hit you with a big shot. Spence was more of that than Canelo. Believe that. Well, you already beat a guy with a high guard, and Spence. Look, man, Canelo is a better defensive fighter than Spence. I'm going to put it to you that way. Canelo has faster hands than Spence. Right? He's stronger than Spence. He's bigger than Spence. He punches harder than Spence. And he's a more skilled fighter than Spence. This is not Spence. And definitely not post-fight car crash Spence. On top of that. And he won't be weight drained like Spence. But that wasn't Bud's fault. I never said it was his fault. Did I say it was his fault? Did I say, hey, blame Crawford? But that's I live in reality. Okay? I live in reality. If somebody builds a wall and it's crooked, right? And I say, hey, that wall's crooked. Oh, it ain't my fault. The measurements that were given to me were wrong. That ain't my fault. Okay, it wasn't your fault, but it's still fucking crooked. Right? So next time we build a wall, we got to make sure that that measurement is working. So in this case, Errol Spence wasn't the same anymore. Oh, but it wasn't Crawford's fault. I understand it wasn't his fault. But nonetheless, he wasn't the same anymore. So when you want to envision how he would do against the Canelo Alvarez, and that's the measurement you're using, there's something wrong with the measurement. Just because it's not Crawford's fault doesn't mean that there's not something wrong with that measurement. The crazy part is that even if the measurement was on point, it's still night and day from a Saul Canelo Alvarez. That's what I'm going to tell you. Okay? So Crawford was expected to just destroy Madrimov. That's not what happened. Right? That was moving up to 154. Now it's going to go up to 168 and fight one of the best fighters of this generation. He ain't going to win. It's all good. I love the fight. I like the fact that Crawford wants to prove he can do it. Canelo absolutely gets all the credit. He's going to be rewarded with credit. My book, after he beats him. Right? Canelo's going to get a lot of credit for beating Crawford. He's going to get so much credit, you're all going to get sick of the credit. Right? The credit is going to be like an 800 plus, bro. Right? I mean, that's just going to look good in Canelo's credit rating. Okay? Because now we're getting people who, the closer we get to the fight becoming a reality, they're changing their tune. They're changing what they're saying. They're changing how they're explaining things. So what are the things that they're saying? No, he don't get no credit. I heard on the box. I saw a reel in the Boxing Voice on Instagram. Dude calls in. We can't give him any credit because I mean he's expected to win. He's supposed to win. So Canelo gets no credit for that. Only Crawford could achieve greatness in this fight. Turns out Canelo's not that crazy when he says things like I ain't gonna get credit for that one. Turns out, right? Now, speaking of reality, I don't think Crawford could win. Or let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase it. I don't believe Crawford's going to win. Right? That doesn't mean he can't win. Right? There's always a chance somebody could win. And Crawford is a really good boxer. So, of course, just whatever percentage you put, some people are very enthusiastic about it and think he's the favorite to win. But even if you don't think he has much of a chance, it's always going to be a percentage that you think, right? It'll be by decision. And Crawford would have to have the night of his life. He's going to have to be razor sharp and to pull off enough rounds to beat Canelo Alvarez in a boxing match. Will that happen? I'm not sure. Will that happen? I don't think so. So I just think what's going to happen here is Canelo's going to win. Some usual suspects are going to pop out and say, like, oh, it was a cherry pick. How can we give him credit for beating a guy that never even fought in the weight class? Right? So what I need all the people picking Crawford to win. Right? I need you to fight with those people. Right? I need you to stand up for Bud. You believe in Bud Crawford? I need you to stand up for Bud because you guys seem to think that the ones saying Canelo's going to win are the problem. Right? But if Crawford beats Canelo, right, we're going to give Canelo credit. I mean, Crawford credit because we picked Canelo to win. So we're going to say, hey, we didn't think he could do it. Shout out to Crawford. Right? Great win. But the reality is this, like right now, you have people saying this is a cherry pick for Canelo. They're insulting Crawford. And you need to stand up for Crawford. You need to go to those people. So stop coming at Canelo fans. Go to the people saying that Crawford shouldn't even be fighting Canelo. They're trying to take away Crawford's right for greatness. They're trying to take away Crawford's right to prove everybody wrong. Everything you're saying, people are scoffing. No, the ones scoffing are the ones saying Canelo gets no credit because they're saying he's a cherry pick because they're not going to give him any credit at all. You got to go after those people. They're the ones doubting Bud. They're the ones thinking Bud has no shot. They're the ones that don't want to give any credit for a win over Bud Crawford, the guy you say is going to destroy Canelo. Think about how crazy that is. You need to stand up for Bud. They're insulting Bud Crawford. Crawford's getting mad because Canelo said his only big win is over Errol Spence. Crawford getting mad at the people saying that a win over you is not going to be significant, that it's going to mean nothing. Get mad at those people. You need to go to war with those people. Stand up for yourselves. Bud fans, especially the ones picking Crawford to win with confidence by knockout. A lot of you are saying he's going to knock out Canelo Alvarez. The guy's never been knocked down. You're saying he's going to beat him by knockout. You got the AI created memes. Think about it. They have to create AI generated memes of Canelo getting knocked down because that's the only footage or pictures they have of him hitting the canvas. And they're picking him to win by knockout, but they're allowing these individuals to call into the boxing boys and say things like a win over Crawford will not matter. A win over Crawford is insignificant. Canelo gets zero credit for beating the great Crawford, the guy you're picking to win by knockout. You need to stand up for Crawford. Crawford, don't let these people say that a win over you means nothing. What are you doing? Why are you letting those people get away with it? Those are wolves in cheap clothing. When they say that, I'm going for Crawford, but he has no shot. I'm going for Crawford, but Canelo's going to get zero credit for beating Crawford. None. Because a win over Crawford is insignificant. Those are your real enemies. Those are the ones that are belittling you. Those are the ones that look at you as insignificant. And those are the ones you need to go after. Am I wrong? Well, why are you getting mad at the people predicting Canelo to beat you? Because they're Canelo fans, or because they think you're too small, or whatever it is, right? Why are you getting mad at those people? But you're not getting mad at the ones that are doing this slick shit, right? They're doing this little slick shit that a win over you doesn't matter. No, a win over Bud Crawford matters. Bud Crawford is one of the greatest talents of this generation. Many have him as a number one pound-for-pound fighter. He's a phenomenal talent, and a win over him, it's going to be a really good win for Saul Canelo Alvarez because of the respect that I have for Bud Crawford. So don't get mad at me because I'm making a prediction. Because I think highly enough of you to say that a win over you will be great for Canelo, and Canelo's going to get all the credit in the world. We're not going to stop giving Canelo credit because that's the credit you get for beating Terence Crawford. But what are we going to do about the people that are saying things like a win over Crawford doesn't matter? Beating Crawford? Oh, man, it's a waste of time. What about the people saying that Crawford's a cherry pick? How little do you think about Crawford and calling him a cherry pick? Shame on those people. And those are the people, that Bud Crawford fans that have been egging on this fight. The ones that have been egging this fight on, retweeting Crawford and all that. Crawford himself, they need to go after those people. That's who you need to go after. You're going after the wrong people. The fight's going to happen. The result's going to be the result. But the people saying you don't have a shot. Zero shot. Are you kidding me? How little do they think of Crawford, bro? Canelo can go from 154 all the way to 175, knock out Kovalev. Canelo could do it. Why can't Crawford move up in weight class and do some stuff? Right? Roberto Duran beat Ivan Barkley. That's what greats do. I think Crawford's a great. So when you beat a great, you get credit. Marvin Hagler got credit for beating Duran, who was once a lightweight champion, in a middleweight contest that went a full 15. And Marvin Hagler got credit for that. Why the hell is Saul Canelo Alvarez not going to get credit for beating Terence Crawford? I think too highly of Terence Crawford. We need to go after the ones that are saying that a win over Crawford doesn't matter. We need to, at the moment, need to join forces against those despicable people. Those are your real enemy. The ones saying that a win over you doesn't matter, we're not going to give Canelo any credit for a win over you. Those are the ones we need to go after. We cannot romanticize fighters of the past that fought from lightweight all the way to light heavyweight and talk about how great they were, but they don't think enough of Crawford that he can't even go to fight Canelo 168, a fight Crawford wants. A fight you guys have been demanding, saying Canelo's ducking from. And then when you finally you're getting the fight and you have these idiots come out and say that a win over you doesn't matter, they are insulting you. That's what they're doing. They're saying you're not an all-time great. That is insulting to Terence Crawford. So are we not going to give Marvin Hagler credit for the win over Roberto Duran? Because if we're going to play this game, we will play this game. If you want to play it. And if Crawford is like, all I'm saying is that I think highly of Crawford. And the win over him is phenomenal. And we need to all agree that Canelo gets all the credit in the world if he gets that win. And you all need to go on record and say that. And if you don't go on record and say that, then you're a bunch of hypocrites. Because you've been saying otherwise about fights in the past. That's what you've been doing. Bunch of hypocrites. And how insulting to Bud Crawford. For years, and I've been saying this is a man that could compete in any era against all the greats. And I agree with that when it comes to Bud Crawford. But then you guys turn around and you're basically saying he's not an all-time great. Shame on you. Just because your hatred for Canelo cannot cut that deep. You cannot hate Canelo so much that you will deny the greatness of Terence Crawford that a win over him is insignificant. Unbelievable. No, Canelo will get credit for a win over Crawford. All the credit in the world. After the credit he acquires by beating Bud Crawford, Saul Canelo Alvarez can apply for anything and get it. All right? That's the type of credit he's going to have. Right? So the way I see it, Bud ain't going to be doing anything different than Canelo's already gone up and slayed big giants. Canelo's already done that. Who were much bigger than Canelo is than Bud. So I don't want to hear the built-in excuses. I don't want to hear this dumb shit where you're putting Canelo in the lose. If he wins, so what? It doesn't matter. And if he loses, no. We're not going to do that. And Bud Crawford fans, you can't allow them to do that because they're diminishing Bud Crawford in the process. They're diminishing his greatness by doing so. It's what they're doing. They're saying he's not. Then you guys have been capping all these years. Then he's not an all-time talent. Then he's not a generational great. Then he can't go up in weight and fight like pound for pound style. He can't do it. He can't do what a Roberto. He can't fight against any of the greats in any era. Then he can't do that because you don't believe in him. You are diminishing Bud Crawford. Is what you're doing. Only just because you don't want Canelo to get credit if he beats him. Just because of that. Because you could cloak it however you want. No, it's a Canelo fan. The Canelo fan. At the end of the day, if you're already saying things that Canelo gets no credit, you may think, yes, the hatred is pointed towards Canelo, but the collateral damage is Bud Crawford. How little do you think of Bud? Wasn't Floyd Mayweather the one that coined the he called me out thing? Or he called me out. He called me out, right? I'm just saying. Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, we're going to give Canelo credit. Oh, the credit's going to... we're calling you out now is what we're doing. All right? So if you think it's a cherry pick, I guess say it now, right? I guess. But I don't know. Which is like the stupidest predictions ever, by the way. You know how many times I hear dudes say, like, oh, this is a cherry pick by Canelo, but it's going to be a cherry pick on wrong, and then they're always wrong. Right? Jermell was a cherry pick on wrong. Nah, Jermell just wasn't at his level, and those that thought he was don't know boxing. And he beat him with ease. It was too easy. And he beat him with skill, too. It wasn't size, it was skill. Deal with it. All right? So with that said, all right, that is what I am saying. Al741L. You go fuck yourself. How about that? If you don't want to hear me, leave, brother. Graham. I could talk about and how I want to talk, when I want, how I want, and you're gonna deal with it or leave. That's it. You like this. This is the guy like that. Go fuck yourself. How about that? Like you can literally, like anyone who has a problem, go fuck yourselves. You don't like what I'm saying? Too bad. I'm the one with the mic and you're the one listening. If you don't want to listen, you can leave. But you don't get to tell me what I need to say, not say, and what I'm trying to say or not do. Like you can just go fuck yourself is what you could do. I hope that was clear. And I can repeat it if I want, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like literally, you cannot stop me from saying it again if I want. So I hope that was clear. I just want to make sure it's clear, and if it's not, I can repeat it. Yelling and cursing. I could curse if I want. I could yell if I want. I could raise my voice. I could talk in a low. I could talk however the fuck I want to talk. And literally, there's nothing you can do about it. How does it feel to know there's nothing you can do about it? You could bitch and complain about it like a woman, but other than that, there's nothing you can do about it. Imaginary narratives. They're imaginary, right? So I imagine them. You know, this is crazy to me. Only insecure people come out and say dumb shit like that. Right? People act like that when you hit a nerve. You strike a nerve. That's why they act that way. Right? I can find it.
Ain't even your fans, bro. Like only legends is real fans. Most of these they calling Canelo a PBC fanboy. What they calling them now, man? You know what I'm saying? That's why I be having fun with these clowns, man. These you know, the people, the detractors, man. They be talking about, you know, PBC going out of business last year. You know, the 5 fell. They sit at the.
That's not it.
You're gonna respect Tank and his crew. People want somebody who's not. I think a lot of Canelo fans, for some reason, they know that there's no excuse. If he loses to Bud, this is a huge mark on his resume. If he beats Bud, he does beat a very accomplished fighter in this era. But there's no ready-made excuses in this fight for Canelo. Canelo should win this fight. And Canelo hasn't been in the fight that there's no excuses. As far as a big fight, there's no excuses. He can't look as, I was daring to be great. No, this is a fight that on paper, Canelo should win. Even if Canelo doesn't look convincing, like in a win, that might be a mark on the fight itself.
I'm just making this stuff up. Meet up nerve. Oh, I hit a nerve and you got hurt, motherfucker. All right? By the way, that guy's banned, by the way. And before people start crying, oh, what do you mean? Like, I could ban where the fuck I want to ban. Like, I'm not, like, you know what I'm going to do this year? I'm just not going to give a fuck. I try to be like the fair guy that dude's gone. All right? I'm just going to let you know right now. This fair, I'm going to let everybody have their voice. Now, if I don't like you, I could just ban you if I want from my channel. And you tell me what you're going to do about it. Nothing. Right? So it just is what it is. You're just making that stuff up. Shut up. Nobody around here makes stuff up. We're not just saying, just because something sounds ridiculous, and nobody's saying that, that doesn't mean it hasn't been said or that nobody's saying it. Okay? What do you mean? People are picking Crawford to win by knockout? Well, you're making that up. Just because, like, why would I make that up? You think I'm going to come on here and claim that things are being said without having receipts? Well, it is what it is. With that said, I'm going to keep it moving. No, but fair, you know, you got to have fair people. Let everybody have their voice. I do that, and people just bitch. Like, here's the thing, all right? At the end of the day, like, if I just look at someone and I don't like them, I could ban them if I want, and that's just the way it's going to run this year, all right? So it's just the way it is. Well, that's it. And if I feel like tolerating one person, not the other, that's up to me. Oh, but these style, you give a pass to this guy, not that guy. Too bad. You could go cry about it. Okay? Go tell your significant other about it. Go tell your dog about it while you're petting them or whatever. Go tell your grandma about it. All right? Go piss on a cup and tell it about it before you drink it like Marcus would drink his piss. I don't give a fuck what you do. Okay? With that said, oh man, I think I said everything I had to say. I think the message was loud and clear, by the way, I think, quite frankly. You know, because see, here's the problem. For years, right, myself and a lot of Canelo fans have come on here trying to be fair. Right? Try to be fair. Let me try to show people how fair we are, right? And you know what happens? Nobody else is fair. Nobody else is fair, right? And then you come on my chats, and then you try to gaslight people. Like, nobody's saying that stuff. You're making that stuff up. What do you mean? No. You can go fuck yourselves. Is what you can go do. Okay? Maybe you should have been more cooperative when I was being fair. Now, I'm still going to be objective, right? But fuck fair. All right? You can take that and you can shove it up your ass if you want. It's a whole new era right here. You should have just taken a good deal. Right? You should have taken a good deal. The one where Canelo fans were being fair, you should have just taken that deal. All right? So, and like 92 AKU, I tolerate him, right? That's why he like gets away with shit, right? But I'm used to him. But somebody else comes on here and says the same shit he says, and it just rubs you the wrong way. I could get rid of you if I want. And you could say, oh, but you let 92 AKU say, too bad. I could do whatever the fuck I want. This is my channel. See how that works? See how great that works? Man, that felt good, didn't it? All right. Anyway, it's just a whole new age, ladies and gentlemen. It's a whole new age. Like this is going to be a glorious year. I already see it. Right. With that said, let's prepare to give Canelo all the credit in the world, just like we gave Hagler credit for beating Duran when he gets that W. Right. And if anyone has a counter to that, give it to me. I want to hear it. Please shoot it my way. I want to hear it. I want to hear what you got to say. For all you historians out there think you know everything about boxing, let me tell you something. With Google and research now, everybody's a fucking historian if they want to be. So just do me a favor and tell me, okay, how it's any different. I'll listen. I'll hear you out. All right. With that said, this is DStyleBoxing. Keep it boxing. We're out of here. Peace.